My name is Alok Srivastav. I am co-founder of GoCrackit, and GoCrackit is a platform which connects students and working professionals with industry mentors. So we have a technology platform where we have around more than 350 mentors from different industries, different functions, and we have been working on this space for last 3.5 years, and till now we have been pre-seed funded by IIM Bangalore, NSRCL, grant given by Goldman Sachs, and also till now we have worked with around more than 5,000 students, right, and working professionals, and we have been helping them with more than 10,000 hours of mentoring for last 3 years. So that's what we have been doing, and we are fortunate enough that we have a lot of mentors who keep giving us a lot of insights and a lot of information, and that's where we requested Gaurav to conduct this marketing automation workshop for two reasons. One, because he has immense knowledge of that and he really want to help different people with his knowledge. That is one. And second, because of these new paradigm of pandemic and all, the digital way of doing things, including marketing, is going to be in great demand, and we feel that this is something, if people are interested, can really leverage upon, and that's why we requested Gaurav to do this session. Let me do a small introduction of Gaurav. So as I said, Gaurav is our mentor and he's right now based out of Sydney. So I think it's afternoon or evening time there. Thanks Gaurav for helping us. And Gaurav is an IIM Ahmedabad 2009 batch alumnus, and he has been working in marketing domain for very long. And initially he worked in different companies in India, including Embassy Group, where he was helping in strategy and marketing. And right now, and he has worked in multiple companies in marketing domain as digital marketer in different companies. And right now he's working as a digital marketing specialist in BAI Communication in Sydney. So thank you, Gaurav. Thank you very much for agreeing to help all these guys, and I'm really grateful for you. And thank you, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for joining this session. And we are confident that this session is going to be a very insightful and interactive session with Gaurav. So thank you, Gaurav. I think we can start the session, and we can see your screen. So I'll go on mute. And guys, if you have any doubt, put it on chat. And if you have anything very specific on the slide itself, just speak up so that we can try to resolve those queries. Keep it interactive. And so Gaurav, we can start the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you for having me. I think you guys at GoCrackit are doing a fantastic job. I've been associated with you guys for, I think, more than 2 years now in some capacity or other. So it's great to see the work you guys are doing, and I'm sure a lot of your students are very happy with the efforts you put in to ensure that they do a great job in their careers. So when Surata reached out to me a couple of weeks back, and a couple of months back rather, we were just discussing on a number of things, and this thing came out, and she realized that she mentioned that there are a lot of people, a lot of students who are interested in this field. And since I have worked in the marketing technology field for more than 7 years, I thought, let me give this, I'm more than happy to share my learnings with you, and hopefully you guys will take something out of it. And as the title of this workshop says, it's not just basics. There are a lot of information around marketing technology floating around, which is very important, very useful. But in this workshop series, I'm trying to go beyond basic knowledge and try to present a more hands-on, give a more hands-on experience to people who are going to take this workshop. So part one workshop today, the focus is going to be on setting the context, and with a stronger focus on marketing technology, making you all understand beyond basics on what marketing technology is, what it can do for you, whether you're a small business or whether you're a marketer in a large or small organization. And we'll take it from there. So that's my introduction, and I really hope that over the next 90 minutes or so, you will, once you leave this workshop, you will find something exciting, something useful, and any kind of feedback is always welcome. What we'll cover in this workshop is these 7 things. We start with what is MarTech. We identify what MarTech is. And once we do that, we flow into what is the role of marketing. Why do we need MarTech? What are the components of a MarTech stack? How to build a MarTech stack, and how do you identify gaps in the MarTech? And then end with careers in MarTech. What skills do you need over there? And with a small preview of what next week's workshop is going to be all about, where I'm going to focus on marketing automation. Now, as we start, some housekeeping. Alok will be recording this session on this webinar itself and post it on the GoCrackit site later on, so you can always access it. Feel free to post your questions in the chat section. If there is, I will keep monitoring it. In case there's any question which needs to be addressed then and there itself, I will do it, or Alok can interrupt me and I'll answer the questions. However, if I feel that the question will be answered somewhere during the course of the presentation, I will continue the presentation. Having said that, there will be a 10 to 15 minute Q&A at the end, and where you can ask all your questions, and I'll be happy to answer in the best of my capabilities. And now I'm sure all of you have attended a lot of webinars given the situation we are in. So please do keep yourself on mute and obviously accept when asking questions. So let's head in this direction and see what is MarTech. So during this entire presentation, I'll be presenting each section. Each section will be introduced with one cartoon by marketinist.com. This is run by this pretty interesting marketing person called Tom Fishburne. While looking at these cartoons, you can have a giggle. It's quite funny. But the objective is beyond that, not just to keep the webinar light and interesting, but also to give you an insight into how some bad organizations, or how some organizations don't use marketing technology or don't utilize marketing as it should be. And if I may say so, after probably the HR department, marketing department, marketing team people are the people who are made the most jokes about because for whatever reasons. But there's a lot of value that marketing can bring onto the table if they use their skills or if they use their brains effectively. And that's what marketing technology helps you do. When we are answering this question, what is marketing technology? As with most things, it's important to give a definition. Given that it's a new tool and it is hardly ever taught in theoretical environments in colleges, the definition is wide and varied. Different people will give different definitions. This is my definition, and that's the basis of, and most other organizations, most of the places, it won't be significantly different as well. So it's a category of digital tools that helps marketers achieve their goals. It's as simple as that. But still, for the sake of this conversation, I will distill it a bit more so that you guys can understand where I am coming from and what the context I will always be speaking on. Marketing technology is an inward focused category. It's focused towards the organization rather than towards the customer. There are online tools. It's, as the name says, digital. They're online tools. They are with little or no relation to the physical environment. I'll give you an example over here. Some years back, I was as part of a marketing project in my organization. I was organizing an event, and online event. I was organizing an online physical event, and where we thought that we had not really provisioned to find out how many people are actually entering the event space. One of my colleagues suggested, why don't we put a volunteer from the team at the gate to find out and actually physically count people. That's ideally a marketing technology tool should be able to do that. But if you do that, that's not marketing technology. You are getting a result, but that's nothing to do with technology. So most of the scope of marketing technology is online digital tools. It's primarily used by marketers, and that's where most of the decision making or most of the operation decision making is made by marketers. Having said that, this is one of those tools which is used extensively by other stakeholders. It can be used by the sales team. It can, to a certain extent, be used by the finance team and sometimes even the executive team. Unlike a tool like SAP, which may primarily be owned by the operations or the finance team, this is primarily owned by marketers and used by different set stakeholders for a lot of purposes. The last bit is to achieve goals. Marketing technology helps marketers specifically achieve their goals. And let's understand what the goals of marketing is. As I said, we marketers are made a lot of fun about. Normally, people outside world probably think that this is what marketers do, that they decide whom to target it, and all they do is do demographic targeting. But specifically in today's world, uh, identifying whom to target goes beyond demographic targeting of just male and female. So what exactly does goal of marketing do? And this is based on my experience for the last 10 years. The first goal of marketing is to build a brand. The second goal is to qualify leads, create leads. How do you do that? Brand building is done. It is very, it's pretty obvious, but create a visual identity, messaging, customer experience. This is something which non-marketers would probably think it's fluff, but this is what, having been a marketer for the last 10 years and having not been a marketer before that, I realized that once this is set up, this is kind of the unwritten rules of the organizations or the things which work behind the organization, which helps keep things moving, specifically keep customers interested in what we do. Any kind of major brand that you think of, and when I'm using this word brand, I'm not using a company. That's where brand comes from. Whether I talk about Hindustan Unilever, or whether I talk about Procter and Gamble in the B2C space, or whether I talk about even the government of India, or any government in the B2B space, they all have some kind of brand building, which is consistent visual identity, messaging, customer experience. That's what brand building does. If you do brand building of any sort, you will get leads. And that's what one other aspect of marketing is, to not only generate those leads, but validate those leads. You do both of these things by content. And this is where my framework starts getting interesting. A lot of people ignore content or do not fully understand content is. But if you don't, content is the bedrock of what you do, brand building and lead qualification. But even more important than content, not diluting the impact of content, is analytics. Whatever brand building you do, whatever lead qualification you need to create a flywheel of sorts, wherein people will engage with your brand, engage with your business, and you need to understand what level of engagement is there, and then you use the analytics to improve your activity further so as to achieve your business goals. Your business goals, as far as marketing is concerned, is to provide good quality leads to the salespeople. That's what, in my objective, and that's, in my opinion, is the goal of marketing, is to build brands, to qualify those leads, use content and analytics to keep the marketing flywheel keep on running, and generate leads for the sales, who can then convert them and bring revenue to the business organization. So effectively, marketing is the customer of marketing is not really the customer of marketing is the sales team. And that's something which I have understood by working in various organizations in various capacities. Now, let's get into the core of today's discussion. Why do we need marketing? This is I really liked this particular cartoon. Traditional marketers will probably look at any new technology and ask questions that why is it good for us, and probably not think of it as something useful for them. But invariably, most of the technology which is there in the market has some use or the other. So as this thing goes over here, this code goes over here, technology changes exponentially, organizations change logarithmically. That brings us to an interesting question. Is consumers or customers or people who buy our products or services or influence our products or services? So marketing practices, and historically marketing practices and consumer interests have a two-way relationship. As one changes, so does the other. If you look at various examples around you, And if you look at the most recent example about, say, fairness products, generally, not just Martech, is till about maybe even 5 years back, the call for, even 2 years back, the call for removing the word fair was there, but not as much as it was in the last 6 months or so. And then which forced HUL to change then from Fair and Lovely to Lovely, as I think they're calling that Lovely right now, or something else. But once consumer interests change, marketing practices change accordingly, and that's what Martech allows us to do. To allows us to adapt to consumer practices, consumer relationships, and in a quick, fast manner. We need to use Martech simply because we can. That's a simple, honest answer. There are organizations which are building different technologies. There are people who are doing not necessarily to increase customer retention of people, I think, but somewhere. Uh, is there why people when customers interests change, we need to adapt and use that technology to reach to the customer. It's possible to do so. We might adapt. It was not possible probably 50 years back, when in the 50s and 60s, where the only way to reach to customers was through newspapers or through print magazines. As time evolved, email came in place, then digital marketing or digital advertising came into place, then social advertising came into place, and now we have got AI and ML to reach customers in a manner which was unheard of, it's unthinkable of, where you could only reach in science fiction. But today we can do that, and marketing technology is what enables us to do that. More bang for the buck. It's pretty again, should be given the times that we live in, and and I say times that we live in because the last 6 months, last 5 to 6 months have really changed how businesses operate. Businesses have had to close down or difficult situations, but more than anything else, people are there and they're still going to buy things. But the budgets which companies have, they have reduced, or they've used that as an excuse to reduce the budgets. So they want to get more money out of whatever they're spending. That's always what finance teams wants you to do: spend less money and get more results. Marketing technology allows you to do that. As uh, as I'll explain later in the presentation as well, there are a lot of products in the market for every category that you can think of. Name a favorite for almost name a favorite category. Even if you consider Apple to be your favorite brand, and you might think that they have a monopoly. Some of you may realize that Apple doesn't really have a monopoly, but they provide an experience which make people think that there's no other thing apart from Apple in the world. Samsung has a far larger market share, but there are probably 15 to 20 or maybe 50 different mobile phone companies in India itself who provide different services or different kind of products. But because the way Apple uses technology, and you can read online a lot about how Apple's marketing technology stack works, but they provide a different experience, and that's how the brand is built. Effectively, the engine which helps the brand keep on increasing its value and be more relevant to the customers is with the use of technology. And that's how you differentiate yourself and become a better brand and generate better sales over a longer period of time. Other aspect is personalization. This is something, if you are reading around, you would have read about a lot, but even if you are a consumer, you would have experienced it a lot yourself. From seeing those emails which start with your name, giving you a personal touch, to seeing those ads which you make a purchase, or you just make a list on Amazon, or on your wish list, and you see the same product being visible across your browser. That's personalization. 15, 20, 25 years back, the only personalization was possible was when somebody would come to your house and sell you personal products in front of your door, or when you would go to a shop and the shopkeeper or the kinarawala would know your personal history, your personal details, and that's about it. But as you can clearly understand, that was something not scalable. But today, that is scalable, and that's the context that you need to understand, that why Martech is important as well. And the final thing and one of the most important things is revenue tracking. Uh, we work in an organization where somebody is putting in money, somebody is spending in money, but eventually there has to be a margin over there, has to be profitability over there, and which needs to be tracked, allocated, so that we decide how to spend the next set of money which comes in, how to spend it better. And unless it is done in an effective manner, uh, nobody will get the credit, and not just nobody will get the credit. The good things, which the impact of good marketing will get lost. So let's say if at some point of time there's $100 spent in uh, marketing, or 100 rupees spent in marketing in a particular organization. In fact, let me step back a bit. There's a very famous quote which used to go around in the 60s and 70s. I think somebody like a Don Draper's version, that I know that 50% of my marketing gets results. I just don't know which 50% gets my result, because there is no way of tracking. But today it is possible for every rupee, every paisa to be tracked. That's because of marketing technology, and that's why it's easier for an individual or a marketer to go back to the CEO or to a CFO to convince them to invest some money in marketing technology rather than traditional advertising, traditional marketing channels. If you can track your revenue, you know who your customers are. If you know who your customers are, you will be able to address them, or you'll be able to get similar customers, or you'll be able to provide them better services, better products, and therefore get more revenue. Again, marketing technology enables you to do all of these things. There are certain other aspects around this. Uh, as I'm speaking, I come to realize that, technology, and this is a disclaimer I need to give. I should have given actually right at the front. Technology by itself is great, but uh, human capital, people like you and me, are the ones who use this. How efficiently, how well we use this marketing technology is what matters. But that's a discussion for probably a completely different webinar. How to use market, how to make sense of that. But for the purpose of this webinar, we talk about how, if you're using marketing technology, how it can impact your business, or how to use a marketing technology stack effectively. That brings us to if there are any, what are the components of Martech stack? Now, if you are in the marketing field or marketing technology field already, and if you are not, that's also all right. But this is a very famous infographic that you would have seen over the years. It talks about from 2011 to 2020. This is the latest infographic, that how different marketing technology companies have evolved, or how many have come up in the as vendors to provide companies to do better marketing using different forms of marketing technology. Way back in 2011, few years after I started my marketing career, there were just about 150 marketing tools, and even then it was very difficult to identify which tools to use. First of all, it was very difficult to understand, but even once you understood what it was, which ones to use, was a major pain when there were 150 tools. And 150 were just numbers which were big brands, not the smaller players who are clones of those big brands per se. But today, and the same applies today as well, there are more than 8,000 original, authentic brands in the marketing technology space. If you see that, for those who are more inclined towards numbers, that's a 5,200% growth. That's absolutely unimaginable, the number of people have got into the space. But that also is a testimony to the fact that this area is significantly in demand as far as businesses are concerned, as far as marketing organizations are concerned. You can have a look at this infographic and read through the more details by going to the chiefmartech.com site. They publish this report every year, and it's for somebody who's looking to get into marketing technology. It's a very interesting read, because it helps you get into at least the basics of marketing technology at the strategy level, on how people are thinking, how people behind the scenes are thinking about it, and gives you a good summary of what other tools are there an option. Now, when we talk about Martech, it's a very interesting thing again, that when there are 8,000 different tools, and every tool is coming every day, some 15 new tools or 10 new tools will come, it's very easy to get distracted. But what is called a shiny new object. You are doing your marketing activities, you are doing your uh, either you come across a problem, but you want a solution, and instead of looking inwards, you end up looking outward and trying to look for a new tool to solve that problem. That will take that's something which is very common but should not be done. Now, I have divided the components of the market stack into two different parts. One is foundational and second is advanced. By foundational, I mean any basic organization, even if it's a one-person organization, they should be having those specific technology products within them. One, most of them are freely available, the ones which I'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes. And two, even if they're not freely available, they're cheap, which is basically you can set up a marketing technology stack for probably 1,000 rupees a month, if not less than that. And that's how cheap it is. So even if a smallest of organization, if they're looking to make money, have a product which actually makes money, investing rupees 1,000 by using these set of tools is quite possible. After this, I'll go into an advanced level and I'll explain to you what that is. And the first part is having a CMS, which is basically where your website lies, whether it's no. And here I'll mention some brands. I'm obviously not promoting any one of those brands. There are more than 8,000 different brands available in this category. And if you go and look at Google for marketing technology stack, you will find different people have different versions of what should combine, what should be a component of marketing stack. At the end of this presentation, which we'll share, there'll be certain reference links where there are actually awards for or competition awards for visualizing your marketing technology stack. And different organizations explain their marketing technology stack in different ways. But this is how I would do it for my organizations because it's quite simple. That's the only reason. It's quite simple and it meets all the requirements that I think any organization should have for marketing technology stack. So CMS is content management system. It's your WordPress or a Joomla and I'm putting SEO tools within the CMS scope because it directly is linked to your website. The other part is email. All of us use emails on a daily basis. It is the simplest or the most basic or even the earliest form of marketing technology that we know of in a way. The brands which are there in the market are MailChimp and ActiveCampaign. These are the best, what we can call them the best in class, and I'll talk about it a bit later. Some of these brands in this category. Emails are something which, if you are getting into marketing or if you're a marketer and if you read about again a bit, emails are something which you should always ensure that you have a good email marketing strategy. Again, this by itself can form a different workshop or a webinar altogether, but that's something which I would want you to take away, that whichever organization you end up being, make sure that you have a very strong email marketing plan around it and use a good tool around it. Social, most organizations one way or the other will have a social platform. And if I start mentioning them, it'll be a pretty big list from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat. I mean, yes, and there are a lot of new ones which are there in the market, which have different functionalities. Those are obviously there, but within the social, if you talk about stack, one of the most common tools is scheduling tools, and Buffer and Hootsuite are the two other famous or popular ones, which have options which people can use on a very easy basis. So that's something which you can look at. But every organization needs to have a social set of tools, social suite, and which will be helpful for them. Very essential, more than just helpful. This is very essential for them to grow. The next part is analytics. As a marketer, this is something which I keep on harping, whichever organization I go to or whichever people I speak with, is that whatever activities we need to do, we need to analyze as much as possible. It's not about collecting data. It's not about data analysis and paralysis, but have some kind of an engine which will help you analyze what activities are going on around your marketing investments. And in my opinion, as of now, there's nothing better than Google Analytics for a basic requirement. I mean, there are better ones, Databox is there, and quite a few of them, but quite a few inbuilt tools in different CRM tools which are there. But at a free level, there's nothing better than Google Analytics which are there. If we move to the advanced level of MarTech stack, the first thing which is there is CRM. Now I could have put CRM in the foundation one as well, but if you want to have a good CRM, you will need some advanced skills to manage it. You'll probably have some kind of sales funnel, sales channel already flowing in. That's then you need to start looking at a CRM. Salesforce is obviously one of the most famous ones. Marketo is another one. These three are at different price points. Zoho is obviously an Indian product which is doing pretty well internationally. Those who are looking to, in fact, the workshop which will happen over the next weekend, I'll be using the Zoho tools to demonstrate certain marketing technologies as well on certain building complex products, complex marketing automation systems using Zoho. Fundamentally, all of them have similar functionalities. Each one of them may have slightly different additional special feature which might suit your organization, but the CRM rules remain the same across the different products which are there in the market. Advertising, now social was there earlier. It's almost become like a basic, something absolutely basic every organization you need to have. I have a belief that in the next couple of years that advertising will go into foundation. You will need to spend money because social will not get you the reach that it used to get. So it's important that you have knowledge and of good advertising tools. It's almost a category. Ad tech is a category in itself, but as of now, it can fall into the MarTech stack category. There are Google Ads, which is obviously the most famous ones, then social ads, which is again the same social tools have their own social platforms in different ways, and programmatic advertising, similar to how TV advertisement used to be there in earlier times, but with strong digital focus and making automation much more faster and much more easier, much more accessible. Design, again, this is something which can be put into foundation, but the reason I didn't do that is that if you have even Microsoft PowerPoint in your system to start with, you can use that to communicate your message. You don't need a Nike, you don't need to be a Nike, or you don't need to produce things like the Nike's video. In case you guys have not seen that, I would really encourage you all to see that as well. But at an advanced level, there's Adobe, there's Canva. The reason I've mentioned Canva, some of you might be using it already. There's a pretty nifty and cool and free tool, but the premium version, the pro version, is actually much, much better. Again, obviously nobody's paying me to use this, but I'm somebody who is a big fan of Canva. And at some stage, I would encourage everybody to give that a shot if you are looking to whether design your courses or design your assignments or creating ads for your business. Use Canva, it's pretty good. If you want to go to an advanced level, Adobe suite of products is over there. Plus, design is something which can easily be outsourced to agencies so that you can focus on different aspects of your business. The last bit is collaboration. Now, I've given the example of DocuSign only. If some of those who are not aware of DocuSign, it's basically where it's an e-tool where you can get signatures across without the need of physical paper, which is probably the bane of most bureaucratic organization, that everything needs to be paper-based. But DocuSign is changing that now, which basically is the collaboration aspect of things. There are other tools also. You can Teams is a collaboration tool, but Canva is a collaboration tool for if you want to look at it that way. But there are different collaboration tools within the marketing technology stack which you can use to help make your organization, make your marketing organization better.
Gaurav?
Yep.
Yeah, from Peter. Can you brief a bit on programmatic edtech?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Peter. That's a programmatic. As I said, edtech is a different category altogether as such. What programmatic ad tech is basically is, let me explain to you in as simple way as possible, that when you buy ads from, uh, individually, you go to Google or you go to LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram and create your own ads. But programmatic ad and create your own ads, and then individually you buy ads from them. But what programmatic ads is doing, that you go to a platform, you set up your ads, and you bid for the ads across channels. That's it, in as simple as that's what it is. Okay. It, so that's a brief, but I can go into a bit more detail. I'm not covering ad tech too much into this in this conversation, uh, but that's what briefly it is about. Prashant's question, performance marketing. Uh, it's performance marketing is, honestly speaking, in my opinion, a phrase which has come up. You're welcome, Ashish, Peter. Uh, I'll just answer Prashant's question, then Kailash, then I'll answer your question. So Prashant, what is performance marketing? As I was saying, performance marketing is more of a phrase for another phrase for, growth marketing, in a way. Basically, get customers. And I'm honestly speaking, I'm not very uh, good with such terminologies, because end of the day, I come from the school of thought, and which is, I don't like to say traditional, but given how things change so frequently, probably this is still traditional. It is it is digital marketing. Your objective is to get customers this way or that way, and you do that, and you put in the effort to do that. Uh, uh, and okay, I'll come back to you, Nisha, now to answer Kailash. How different is the stack from B2C to B2B? Not very different, and this is something which I'll be covering in the workshop as well. There are a lot of articles in the floating around which will help you understand the difference between the two. But a quick answer for that is that probably the difference is in the bottom of the funnel. How you use it's more to do with uh, how frequently are you going to get in touch with the customer. Let me put it that way. Flipkart, for example, let's say, is a B2C organization. A commercial real estate company is a B2B organization. Now, if you're a Flipkart customer, if you're Flipkart, you will want to reach your customer as often as possible, and you use those tools which enable you to reach your customer on a much more real time basis. And the stack is slightly different because real time is involved, is much more detailed. As far as B2B concerned, the real time is not as important as being there at the correct time. And you use the similar or use tools which help you to identify when to reach the customer. Okay, quite a few questions coming in. Sunil, let me, who's getting into. So Sunil, you can try and use Zoho. Zoho has a free 30-day version for their email and their automation platform, and that is something which I'll be covering. I'll be giving a hands-on version in the workshop, but if you choose not to attend the workshop, that's obviously fine. But give Zoho a shot, and it's a pretty nifty tool for you to understand. It's pretty easy. I hope that might help you to give you a hands-on experience on automation tools. Kailash.
Start with Zoho is good, you're saying, to understand the nitty-gritties
Yes.
of.
Yes, for more than any other reason, that it has got a free component, which is very good. So there are other and which is a complete suite. Zoho is a complete suite. So there are Mailchimp and ActiveCampaign and others. They have their own individual free versions, but Zoho is a suite. HubSpot is another option. I prefer Zoho to HubSpot, but HubSpot is another option that can be chosen. But my bias is towards Zoho because Zoho is Indian. So there it go. And given vocal for India. So that's where you can go. I hope that answers your question, Sunil. Yeah. Okay. Kailash, the lead gen itself is the biggest engine for use in B2B. The new funnel is more cyclic than conical. I agree. So what are the tech tools in lead gen for B2B? So as a B2B user, I use, for example, Pardot, and my organization, for example, I use Pardot and Marketing Cloud both. Organizations will sell you that this is specifically for Pardot or for B2B, this is specifically for B2C. There, again, as I explained earlier, it depends on when and how frequently do you want to reach, and what information do you want about them to reach to them. So that is one major difference in lead gen. Is the market says that Pardot is within the Salesforce ecosystem. Pardot is for B2B, and Marketing Cloud within the Salesforce ecosystem is for B2C. A lot of B2B organizations end up using Mailchimp as well, for example, as a emailing tool. And that covers a lot of things. So within the lead gen tool, there are a lot of things as well. But whatever is used in B2C, in my opinion, can mostly be used in B2B as well. I hope that answers your question, Kailash. Prashant, can you briefly tell how the different stacks can interact with each other, and how does content flow? I'm not sure I understand your question. Maybe you can frame it again, or maybe it will answer towards the next part of your presentation. That's possible. If it doesn't, I'm happy to talk about it. Sarthak's question, can you touch upon based upon Zapier? So I'm seeing the trend that people are asking tool specific questions. I'm happy to answer the next two questions, and then I'll move back to my presentation. So Zapier is basically an integration tool. I think so. All of these tools. That's one part. When in my next part of my presentation, I'm going to talk about how to identify or how to build your marketing stack and how to identify gaps in your marketing stack. I remember to touch upon Zapier at that stage. Simi's question: does Google Suite has such automation tools? I'm not very sure. I haven't really used Google Suite that much. And that's the beauty of automation tools and marketing technology. There are lots of them available in the market, and that's something which I'll talk about in the career section as well. You understand one tool, and you build your expertise on that, and you build your basic concepts, and so that when you move organizations or you move from one tool to another, if your concepts and foundations are the same, are strong enough, then you can understand those questions. Then the tool will not be too difficult for you to handle. Sure, Divya, we'll send those. Kailash, let me get back to my presentation, and then I'll answer I'll come back and answer your questions as well. So, okay, so coming to how to build a MarTech stack, and I'm really happy that I'm sorry if if anybody's feeling that I'm not answering your questions. I will answer your questions, but some of them might be answered through the course of this presentation from what I can say. How to build your marketing stack. Now, this is something which you will understand or hear about whenever you talk about strategy, is start from the top, have broader answers first, and the same holds for MarTech stack as well, to be very honest. You understand what your business goals are. Obviously, whether you're a B2B business or whether you're a B2C business, how do you want to interact with your customers, where your customers are, what do you want to achieve, what do you want to sell to them, what problems are you solving for them. Have a good understanding of that before you even start thinking of building a marketing stack. This is on the assumption that you have those answers, or you can get those answers, and you already have some sort of business and you want to get in the direction of getting a marketing stack. It's not these answers or these questions are not to set up your business, to set up a marketing stack, just to be clear on this front. Then what business data is available or can be available? Now, technology, like any other technology in marketing technology, is garbage in, garbage out. If you have business data available, it may be unstructured, that's not a problem, but do you have business data available? And if yes, what kind of business data available? So for example, you want to set up an email marketing campaign, or you want to focus on email marketing and start with building an email stack. But if you don't have a list of emails, or if you don't have a strategy to build emails, then it's by itself the tool, you can't decide what the tool could be. So first you decide what the strategy, or you understand what the data is, and then you start building your stack around it. Sometimes a lot of organizations, specifically an existing organization which has been in the business for quite some time, They will have some business data available. Get into that and see what outcomes, how do the existing data match with your business goals, and then we go to the next step. The next step of finding the customer journey. Again, this is a question which should be answered at a business level as well, but for the purposes of marketing stack, you need to look at it from a different lens. That how is your customer moving from the awareness stage to the purchase stage? What are the different touch points that you have? And therefore, then you decide that what tool might be relevant for your customer at different stages. So, for example, let's say let's since I took the example of Flipkart, I honestly had not thought of thinking of an example, but let's take the example of Flipkart or e-commerce in general. You want to, as a customer, you want to buy a bicycle. So I'm thinking of buying a bicycle for my 4-year-old kid without the training wheels. So I already have purchased a bicycle. So from one organization, probably they know about it. I'll go back to them and see if they have something similar. Then I will look at other options. Then I will look at the price points. Then I'll probably take my son to a physical store to see whether any of the cycle heights suit him or not. Then either I'll buy the cycle from the physical store, or I'll come back and purchase it online, depending on what price discrepancies are there, and actually make the purchase. So who are the influencers? What are the factors? How has the earlier experience been? A lot of these factors come into play. And again, this is one specific topic which will probably demand its own webinar, but have an understanding of that customer journey. What resources are available? Now, this is something which a lot of people, when I was researching to get specific answers for this particular slide, in my opinion, it boils down to two things: whether you have the money for it, or what kind of money you have for a marketing stack, and what kind of time you have. And the third thing is what kind of skill set you have within your organization. These are the eventual resources which, whenever you talk about resources in organization, these are three things that you talk about, and it is no different from marketing technology stack as well. If you are planning to buy an email platform or planning to buy a Salesforce or CRM kind of a CRM platform, do you have the money for it? If you're looking for a CRM, let's say you have the money to buy an expensive tool like CRM. Do you have somebody within the organization to actually help you implement it? If not, then you might as well go for something else, or you actually get use that money to get somebody in the organization and build that for you. So those are the questions that you need to answer as far as resources are concerned: money, time, and skill sets within the organization. Now, the reason I moved from immediately to this question is suit versus best in class, and this is a conversation which is happening a lot in the marketing technology industry. Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, Adobe, these guys are what they're doing is they're building the entire suite. So all the other components that I have mentioned earlier, somebody like Salesforce or somebody like HubSpot or Zoho, or they all have it within their platform. Every kind of marketing. So they're a marketing technology stack in itself. So what is called a suite. The other option, and this is what in my current organization we are using, we are Salesforce people. So over a period of time, what happens, large organizations, they become certain organizations. So I'm a Salesforce, I work with a Salesforce organization. There are other people who might work with an Adobe organization or a Zoho organization, because it makes sense for them to buy different one complete suite, so that there's less of an integration problem. On the other end of the spectrum is best in class, which to a certain extent is kind of like a cart model. You pick up best pieces from here and there, which suits your business organization. The advantage of that is that you get what you need. You don't buy stuff which you don't have. But the disadvantage of that is that there might be too much integration involved. So in my organization, we use Salesforce. All we need to do is integrate Salesforce with my website, and everything else gets integrated automatically. So my website has code, Salesforce has code, they talk to each other, there's integration, and it's far more technical than what I'm saying right now. But then it's much more easier than having MailChimp or an Acton or a Canva or an XYZ product, and then making all of them talk to each other, which is not a bad thing, but it's something which is, again, goes back to the previous question on having resources. So I think this is my favorite cartoon from the entire presentation. Is you end up there, and this is something, honestly speaking, I have gone through myself as a marketer. Every organization of a decent size will have a marketing stack. This is something which I mentioned in one of the introduction videos to this workshop as well, that on an average, a typical medium-sized organization uses 91 marketing technology tools. But how do you measure the ROI for that? Or then, even if that is one aspect, ROI is one aspect of it. But as your business progresses, you realize you need more tools, or which may or may not fit with the existing set of tools, and will the entire system collapse? That's a very frequent problem which a lot of organizations face, and this is something which marketing technology organizations are trying to figure out, and the bigger ones are doing it. But it is a smaller business who have to make good decisions, and it eventually goes down to a trial and error kind of a situation. But it's important that you put your thought behind how to build that stack. And once you build that stack, if you are somebody as a student or a person going into an organization, you identify these gaps in MarTech. How do you do that? So this is on the assumption that there's already a marketing stack in place, marketing technology stack in place. So whenever for any decent organization will have a strategy document, or they might call it something else, marketing technology document for all you care. But there will be a document which will identify, which would have presented a business case on why you would need that specific marketing technology stack. But in reality, something else will happen. I'll give you a very practical example, which happened just about last week, in fact. In my current organization, we have got Salesforce and Pardot, and I made the mistake of actually not going through the strategy document in detail. And that's where this point actually came in. There's one particular aspect of our license, or one product, which we actually got free as part of a license, which we were just not using at all. And we had spent a pretty decent amount of money in getting that add-on from somewhere else, because we thought we did not have it, or getting it would cost us more money. But when we spoke to the Salesforce guys, we found that we have the license. So now we are trying to get that implemented within our Salesforce ecosystem, Pardot ecosystem, so that we can use it and actually don't have to make any further investments in the unnecessary investments in our marketing technology stack. What you need to do is you explore it, you understand it, and then accept or change. Now, this is again one of very interesting parts. Sometimes there's not much you can do at that stage. So specifically when you go into a new organization, you would want to change things and break things. If your organization allows you to do that, that's fantastic. But before changing things, you need to first understand the whys. Why, what happened? If something is wrong, it's probably because of people factor, and that's where you need to be smart about things and understand why the reality is very different from what it was meant to be, and then go about changing it. And that's resource allocation. What I was talking about is people, the people part about it. One part is obviously licenses, and this is something. This is literally flowing from my last week's example. The licenses are not optimally utilized. If be it MailChimp, and I use MailChimp, for example, for a brief while. It's a very simple, straightforward product, not very expensive, but it had certain elements which I had no idea were just when I started the entire marketing technology career we could use for. So I really didn't use them. Not that I spent money elsewhere, but I did not use them. But only when I started exploring a bit and realized that yes, we can use that as well, and I ended up using that in the organization and actually getting results. The last part is training, and as you will probably see the trend over here, that And that's something you'll see the trend across whenever I have these conversations. If you have these conversations with me, it'll be about people. Every technology is about people. That's something which you need to understand as you go ahead in your career. There can be shiny new tools, but if people do not know how to use it, it'll get you no good results. So put proper people over there. If you are the person who's going to implement it, invest time and money in getting yourself trained, because it will be worth it. You will get more returns from it. You will get ROI from it, and your and your organization will benefit for it. Obviously, it could be training to anybody, but the correct people at the correct place. That's something which we probably learned, in class 10 or 11, business classes. But that's how it still holds good even 15, 20 years of when I did that. So keep that in mind. Now, this is something which a lot of you in this webinar might be interested in: careers in Martech. I'm not getting into specifics of, at least at this stage, into whether you can be an email marketer or programmatic ad tech person, or there are a lot of opportunities. As this cartoon would say, there are a lot of opportunities. Companies are, because you can do marketing technologies, there are new ways of reaching out to the customers, and technology is the way to do it. The problem is there is a skill gap in the market. To be very honest, I got into marketing technology out of accident. Not literally as much as was mentioned in this cartoon, but I was doing general marketing, and then things kept on adding on to my profile, and then I became the marketing technology specialist within my organization. And that's how, and there's hardly any formal marketing technology organization in the system. So it is these kinds of workshops, these kinds of webinars, take courses, find more options available in the market, read blogs to get yourself more aware. There are a lot of people in this field, and they make pretty decent amount of money, which is out of the scope. I would not get into the money part of it, but it's a career which is very lucrative, that I can assure you, if you are good at it, if you're really a specialist around it. Don't be Mark, but definitely be somebody who has the skill sets by gaining those. Now, how do you gain those skill sets? Very specific, not very specific to marketing technology, but I will explain to you what it means from a martech point of view. Is the first part is having a growth mindset. For those of you who have either worked in startups or have heard about startups, that's something you'll hear very frequently: growth mindset. Have a growth mindset. It simply translates into do things fast. The technology products which are there in the market, it's very, very, very difficult to break them, specifically the good ones. So try and experiment, do different things. They have a lot of testing capabilities, right? Find an audience, go and do it. Just to give an example, some of you may already know about it, but Facebook, for example, not the best example to give in the current time, but still I'll give that. It's a great technology organization, and everybody knows it. Whatever their political stand is, their technology prowess is unbelievable. At any given point of time, they have more than 10,000 different versions of Facebook going on. And because people have been given the freedom to go and choose a set of audience, make something different within their system, and test whether it works or not works. Use the marketing technology tools at your disposal, or get other ones, whatever your organization allows you to do that, and do things fast. That's very, very critical, and that's very critical for career in the 21st century. Do things fast, have that mindset, because if you are not doing it fast, somebody else will do it. So you might as well get on board with it. The other part is analysis, and it's not the general analysis. It's the ability to don't get involved in that analysis paralysis, and I cannot emphasize this enough. You read data, you interpret data, and you action on the data. That goes along with the growth mindset, but have that functionality, have that ability. And how do you get that thing? I'll come to that in a couple of minutes when I complete this quadrant. Strategic thinking. Read about mental models. Think a few steps ahead. Think about second order consequences. Stay ahead of the trends. Read a lot and build that mindset to see what's happening in the industry, what can be done. To go back to my example, how I found out was when I contacted my Salesforce person to find out what's happening in the industry, what additional things Salesforce is doing that I can make use of. I took the initiative to get in touch with the Salesforce person, who was my contact, account executive, who then told me that no, these are a couple of things that you are not doing, which you can do. So in a way, that's not the best example, but it was I got that came across that breakthrough because I took the effort to find out how I can benefit my organization by finding out what is the latest thing Salesforce is doing, which I am not doing. And that is the kind of things that you need to be aware of, that be proactive. Think of the customer, definitely yes. But as I mentioned right at the beginning of the conversation, is marketing technology is an inward looking tool. Think whatever, stay, have a strategic view around marketing technology as well. I'm not sure how many of you will be happy or unhappy about this, but HR and marketing may have their own set of jokes, but I haven't seen any other in the last couple of years any other career having been more joked upon than the MBA type. Having been one myself, so I'm joking on myself. So I think that's all right to us, to all of us. I guess most of you people are either MBAs or pursuing MBAs, but there's a lot of flack towards MBAs that they don't, or we don't really know. We think only data, we think only analysis. We really don't not close to the ground, and that's something which, as MBA professionals, it's a responsibility to get out of. Be human, understand the customer, understand the problems, be empathetic, and that will help you not in Martech, but no, and it's in general, yeah, it will help you across your throughout your life. So this is what is Martech skills is going to be all about. Have that growth mindset, have that analytical mindset, have that strategic thinking, and above all, be human, which will help you everywhere in every aspect of uh, life. Now I'll come back to your questions. Let me see if there are.
There's a question from Kailash. I think what are the right goals? The first question,
Right
Gaurav.
budget in terms of percentage of revenue to spend on Martech on B2B. Kailash, if you are doing your MBA, no, the correct answer is, and it depends. To most such questions, it depends. Uh, Depends on what your organization's revenues are, what your goals are, uh, what your organization overall marketing budget is. So there is no correct answer to that. The only way to look at it is probably go on Google and see what other organizations in your industry are doing, and if you get that number and stay equal to that number. I'm if I were to take a guess, I would say that this question is coming from the one angle. This question could be coming from is while preparing budget, how do you allocate and get that buy-in from your finance team or your marketing heads that we need to dedicate this amount of money to Martech. Uh, I think more than the percentage, if you can convince them, correct me if I'm wrong. You can always speak up if you want to, but there's no correct answer to this. The correct answer is how it depends how it is in your organization. Uh, your third question is what is the path to attain the ultimate level of automation? Meaning, where do we start first and in what phases? I think I answered that earlier in the slides itself. That first question that you answer is your achieve your business goals, have clarity. If I were to summarize the entire site in one space, have clarity. Having said that, and having experienced myself, clarity is not easy to get. So it moves to having that mindset of growth mindset. Do things. If you do not have clarity, possible, very much possible. But start doing things, iterate, learn, improvise, improve, and implement. Follow that methodology, and you will get to there. If you're talking about a specific Martech stack, the answer is honestly speaking, uh, it depends. But having that foundational and breaking up into foundational and advanced level of marketing technology will be quite helpful. What are the right metrics as a business I should look to focus to and cut the crap from the data coming out of Martech tools? I understand, okay, what you mean by cut the crap, but uh, to this question, I would not answer. It depends. For every marketing metric, every metric that you look should to, the most important metric is revenue. It's very much possible that uh, getting that revenue metric is difficult. It is very in my organization. It's very difficult, to be very honest. But the earlier organization I worked for, it was difficult, but we derived a way to come at that metric. Uh, so how do you reach that metric? It could be as simple as that cost per lead, how much you are spending in per month on getting those leads, and how many leads you are getting. That could, or how many leads your sales team is agreeing are qualified leads, and how much you're spending versus and then measure it against the revenue that you could potentially gain from each lead, and then go on and build from there and work backwards. I hope that answers your question, Kailash, on that. Um, thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Dipti. Pawan, can Martech drive sales without? Um, See, honestly speaking, I forgot what the acronym IDA means, but I think it's awareness, interest. I'm not sure. So if you can elaborate on that, that would be helpful.
Interest, desire, action, I think.
Something like that. So Martech does not really drive sales. If you were to speak specifically, Martech drives leads. Let's look at it that way. I would always look at it that way. Because marketing will drive leads, and Martech is the tool for Martech. So I hope that answers your question. So just to the slide, and so this is this was the end of my presentation, and there will be more. I'll answer some questions after these next few things, but the last bit of housekeeping which we should mention is the full agenda for the workshop. And this was the first version where I explained the marketing technology. The next one is starting on Saturday, and which is a 2-day workshop. Saturday for 1.5 hours, and Sunday in 1.5 hours, or 2 sessions. The first one is where I'll do a deep dive into marketing automation on Saturday, and give you a more detailed concepts of marketing automation. The marketing automation is something which I am an expert in, and that's why I have chosen to do this course. And what you will learn is how to get that ball rolling as far as marketing automation is concerned. And you will get through some concepts of customer journeys, how to do what the tools, get your way around the CRM and things like that. And on Sunday we'll conclude with using Zoho. Once you register, maybe towards the middle of the week, we'll send you some links that how to register and how to do different, how to set up before you actually come for the workshop. So we'll train you that on that as well. But on Sunday we will build some actual. We'll use a case study to build some actual automation flow, build a low lead scoring template, and build a complicated automated customer journey. Not as complicated as a lot of organizations will have, but slightly more complicated one, but which can help you have a better understanding of what marketing automation can do or cannot do. A lot of things you might know, but you now you know how to do those things also. If you attend this workshop, you're obviously, the takeaway is that there will be a live project experience. As I mentioned, I'll be speaking a bit more in depth about careers in marketing automation, which is my area of expertise. And obviously, you will be getting a certificate of achievement from Clarity from GoCrackit, which will be useful for you in your CV. And plus, it'll be something the certificate will not just be one of those certificates you get because you attended a session, but you'll be getting it because you attended something, and which, if I may say so myself, boasting about it, that you'll actually have some learnings, some practical learnings about it. I'll just give you a brief preview of what is going to be in the next Saturday's workshop. But before that, I would want to leave with this particular final bit of cartoon over here. Is again a joke on us marketers, is that we talk all about, and this answers your earlier question, which was there earlier, how do you track it? End of the day, customer, the CEO and the CFO and the executive team wants to understand about EBITDA. We can talk about everything else, but end of the day, we need to ensure that we talk about EBITDA, we talk about the bottom line, we talk about the top line. How do you do that is a very different thing also, but that's something as marketer you need to imbibe in yourself as much as possible. This is an extension of the earlier slide which I had showed, and something what was missing over in that slide is the customer. And that's something which I've intentionally not touched upon throughout the presentation, because I was wondering if somebody would actually ask that question. Marketing, if without an understanding of customer, is of no use. It's as simple as that. And whatever technology you use, it's aimed towards engaging your customer, is getting them converted, and understanding your customer, and then getting the sales to understand that customer and buying from the company, buying from your organization. So these are some of the reference links from the presentation. We'll share them with you separately with the video. You can access them as well. Let me see if there are other question.
Gaurav, there was a question from Prashant. I'm not sure whether you've answered it or not. That how the content flows from one.
Yes. Let me. Thank you. Where was it?
Or Prashant, can you speak up and ask this question?
How different? How you can speak up, Prashant, or if you can give some context as well, that will be helpful. I'm happy to answer. If you want to write about it in detail, I can do that as well.
I said it is answered.
Okay.
Cool.
Sarthak, you mentioned about Zapier as well. I just saw that question again. So it's about the integration. So it's a great integration tool. It would probably, for those of you who do not know about it, Zapier is a pretty cool uh, tool where where you have the suite. What I mentioned, the best in class versus the full suite. If you're using best in class tools to make each tool talk to each other, Zapier helps quite a bit. Uh, I haven't used too much because we use Salesforce, but LinkedIn and Salesforce, for example, they don't really talk to each other that well. So when I say talk to each other, I mean that the data from LinkedIn, the leads from LinkedIn, how do I put them into my Salesforce? How do I put them into my CRM? Zapier helps me do that. That's one use case that Zapier helps, and that's a good example of marketing technology or marketing technology tool as well. Yeah. Is there a tool like Salesforce which is step by step? Okay, before that, Surbhi, no problem. Surbhi, can you recommend some books for this field if you are new to this area? Um, Books, marketing technology books are not really, I would recommend some blogs. There's it is there in the resource chiefmartech.com. Have a look at that. I will share some links with Alok also, which Alok you can forward to Surbhi. I don't want to break the presentation, so to share them with you, but to the entire group as well. I hope follow blogs. Chief Martech is a pretty good one. Marketo and Salesforce has good blogs as well, so you can look over there as well. Is there a tool like Salesforce which is step-by-step process for marketing? I'm not sure I understand the question, but if I were to interpret it as like Salesforce is an expensive one. If you want to implement marketing technology, try Zoho, the free version, which has a pretty decent guidelines or guidance system also that it will handhold you to a certain extent how to do various things. Pretty helpful. So try that. Simi in the next workshop with automation tools one. And yes, that's correct. I'll help you to do all that. I wasn't really focusing on the metrics bit, but since you asked, I can actually cover metrics. Also help to understand the metrics of marketing automation as well. Should not be a challenge. So take a switch and take a free. I mean, there are paid versions also. Take the free version, at least for the workshop or for your own practice. That is, take the CRM and Zoho CRM, Zoho email. I think that's what it's called. I'm very bad with these names. I'm sorry. I have to look at them.
Simple half pager and send it to everyone for practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as if you want to register for the workshop, the link is there. The just I just uploaded that. Have a look at it. I think the workshop is going to be quite interesting. A lot more detail. So I know I'm selling myself over here, but I mean, that's what everything is all about, right? We keep selling different things. I hope you did have found a lot of value in this webinar, and I'll be bringing more of my experience. And I think it was good learning for me as well, wherein I could put in a lot of my thinking and explain to you guys as well. I hope you guys benefited from as well. Alok, that's it from my end.
Yes, thanks, Gaurav. Thank you very much. And guys, we can, I mean, if you have any question, please do ask in the chat window or you can speak up. Just one question from my side, Gaurav.
Sure.
See, people like us who are startup, right?
Mhm.
You know, it's, I mean, all those things actually relate to us as well. But how do we
Mhm.
start? Where do we, I mean, given that we have less resources, given that we do not want to complicate things, how do
Mhm.
we take this, how do we leverage this marketing automation?
So I would say, like with most things, start small. Start with a small objective. So, for example, uh, your when people sign up to your newsletter or your workshop, you send them a personalized, automated email by using either Zoho or any other tool, free tool or pay tool, also for that matter. What how it will help you is it will help in that personalization which these tools offer you, and it will help you in reduce the I'm talking about automation specifically, in help you in reduce the time to send everyone individually everything. So suppose somebody signs up to your newsletter, it's a good practice to send them, they're signing up for your newsletter because they're interested in what you're doing. So instead of sending personal emails or thank you email, which is always good, but you can send them a set of other links on your blog which they might find useful. So say somebody fills up a form on your website which tells you that they are from, let's say, uh, their, for example, their background is engineering, or some that is one field in your form. The background is engineering, or somebody who says their background is commerce. So whether it's engineering or commerce, depending on the field that they select, the email, thank you email that you send them, or the welcome email that you send them, can contain engineering or uh, marketing or
Yeah.
related blogs. And that's very simple. So it's just one thing that you need to do. You do it properly. One, you do that, then you do start doing other things. Before you start all that, you look at your Google Analytics. You see how people are, what understand the customer journey. You have a, no, and I'm now going backwards. What your business goals are. Use Google
Hmm.
Analytics to see what are, when people are coming to your site, are they achieving, are they doing what you want them to achieve? Then
Hmm.
whatever they are not doing, which you want them to do, automate that part, or whatever they are doing properly, try and automate that part so that you can focus on the other things, and then move on to the next thing once you have identified the correct thing, correct process, which will save you time to do other things. I hope that answer your question.
Right, right. Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Gaurav.
No
So,
problem.
yes, any other question, guys? Any other thing, any other thoughts, any other suggestions? Anything, if you want to share, you can share now. And we are really grateful for Gaurav and all of you to join this session. And we look forward to meet you in the next session also, which is going to happen on coming Saturday and Sunday. There are two workshops sessions. So if you have any questions, do write to us. You can pay. We will send you the payment link and the details of the workshop also. But if you want to know anything more, please write to us. Please call us, and because there will be a number in the mail itself where you can call us. So thank you very much for joining in, and thank you, Gaurav. I mean, it is like kind of a new, really insightful and informative session, and very well structured, and with a lot of good slides. And some of you are asking about videos. We will definitely share the videos and the slides as well. Right, Gaurav? Slides we can share, right?
Yes, we
So,
can share.
so thank you very much for that, and I hope this has helped all of you. Thank you very much.